underlying everything. So it's a good idea to have a round table based on ethics. So we're going to go right to the heart of the matter. Sylvie, how do you react to this video clip? I don't know if my microphone's working. Well, we know that this problem was going to come up. I'm an engineer and an economist, and I would like to be provocative with respect to the video clip and some of the difficulties that are raised. What about the economic mechanisms? Are they all vicious? Are they all a problem for ethics? I don't think that's the case. The first idea is that the resources are finite. They are allocated in a specific way. And we can't continue to increase our deficits, especially when you look at emerging countries and the competition that they represent with respect to our countries. So we can't continually ask this question about efficiency. Now, many French people said that they were not ready to increase the amount of money that they were paying. So we can't do more with less. It's a bit like sustainable development. The resources are not finite resources. They have to be allocated in an efficient manner. This is an ethical concern. It's a duty that to work on economic efficiency. And another underlying question is the responsibility of the patient. This is another subject. Resources are not infinite. Second subject. Are we opposing economic efficiency and quality? In nature, in the industrial world, economic pressure leads to quality. It leads to people wanting to do better with less. It leads to people wanting to control processes better, making them more predictable, working on automation and the use of protocols. And in the economic environment, it's about not having too many oppositions, like Gaz de France. This public utility was opened up to competition. When they wanted to reduce their costs, they concentrate on their quality so that they have no non-quality costs. So this is what we've seen throughout industry. And the third point that I wanted to raise concerns this conflict of interest. Why don't companies do any old thing? Well, it's like airplanes when they are delayed. It has to wait for 2 or 3 days. That's not the case. So this conflict of interest is the same everywhere. There are conflicts of interest between individuals and organizations, between organizations and public associations, and that's because there are customers, more and more customers using internet, expressing their ideas, getting together, moving together, and the map evaluating the opinion public of hospitals in Germany and Great Britain. Everybody knows that everybody knows, and whether an entity is efficient or not, and that's what they base their choices on. And it's also a question of audits and regulators. We hear about these in the finance world, and we know, given Enron, that you can't just fiddle with your accounts any old way. It's about having collective and individual responsibility. So this is just to say that economics doesn't mean law of the jungle. It also means efficiency, quality, better use of resources, and there are mechanisms that are very useful. So that was just to respond to the video. Who would like to say something now? So it was great, the picture of the devil and the angel in the video clip. Now, based on the survey, 70% of people think that industrialization leads to a decrease in quality. These few reference points show us that there is an opposition between industrialization and quality, when in fact what we're seeing in industry, I come from GE Healthcare, is that it's the opposite. Industrialization leads to better processes, better control, so it leads to better quality, in fact. In our company, for example, when a device breaks down in the hospital, it's a real problem. There is a real ethical risk. There are patients at stake, operations that can't be carried out. So it's very important for us as builders of that equipment may send out a technician to repair it. If we're not industrialized, if we're not well organized, so that a specialist is able to go out and mend equipment. That leads to non-quality, and at the end of the day, non-quality in health, well, it's the patient's life that is at stake. So this opposition between industrialization and quality is somewhat artificial as far as I'm concerned. What's interesting as well, another example, is that, well, can't we say that it's not just something that concerns industry and we can't apply it to the hospitals? In the future, in hospitals, if you have to have a hip operation, would you go and ask a surgeon who has only done 2 operations during the year, or would you ask a different surgeon with more experience? It's a question of organization, and it's this organization that leads to a certain amount of quality. The health sector is one of the most noble sectors because the impact is not just an economic impact, the impact is health, and this is our greatest wealth, our greatest good. So it involves an enormous amount of responsibility, this health sector. That's why it's so noble. And I think this is why that we have to act as people who are responsible and put the patient at the center of this ethical question, so that we provide the patient with the best quality, so that we improve our processes, our inspections, we reduce medical errors, so that all of our staff are right at the core of their own profession. A last example, a better organization in hospitals should make it possible to improve time spent by nurses with patients, because that's where they have the best added value. That's where they have enormous competency. So the question is, should we industrialize in order to provide quality? The answer is obviously yes, but the real question is just how far should we industrialize? Because not everything can be industrialized. And I will finish with that point. We're not in a transactional relationship here. The patient is at the center of the healthcare service, and there's all the emotional side, the doctor's relationship with his patient. That's what is really specific to the French health system, and that's something that has to be kept at all costs. So not everything can be industrialized. So the right question is, just how far can we industrialize? How far can we define processes and objectives? What should not be industrialized? What should not be automated? So that we have enough flexibility, so that we don't damage this emotional relationship between the doctor and the patient. So I think we're really at the heart of the matter there. We've put man right at the center of the system, the human being right at the center of the system. I'm going to be provocative. I think the film in 30 years' time, we will consider that it's old-fashioned. I hope that will be the case. I'm a bit shocked by your film for 2 reasons. First of all, the devil. Now, the devil, this is very typical of our French society that has inherited a Catholic civilization. I'm Catholic myself, and I respect that. But since St. Augustus, it considers that the city of God is the earth city. Now, you've got the city of economists, and it's an earthly thing. And then you've got the city of God, which by definition is based on ideologies, and it takes us back to St. Augustus. And you can see how you get from one to the other. I think it's really old-fashioned to present the debate about economic analyses with the picture of a devil. No, there is an economic reality. When I was at Clermont-Ferrand, it was said that if Clermont-Ferrand didn't have Michelin, there wouldn't be a university hospital. There is a link between economics and health. We must stop thinking that there is always this opposition. Second question, the question that you're raising is not a good question. The question that I'm asking myself as the general manager of the hospital is this financial criterion, is it a predominating criterion when decisions have to be made? With the president of the CME, we have to make decisions. We have to arbitrate. And this financial criterion, is it the only criterion? It is just one of the criteria. And I think that this presentation, and I'm sorry, I think it's not very educational. It reflects the end of a school of thought that always considers